Okay, hello and welcome to my live stream. Today we are playing Call Me Under, also by Lunaris Games, the same dev team that brought us When the Night Comes and Errant Kingdom. This is the demo. They're still working on it, but they're going to release the game entirely once it's finished. And I'm part of their Discord, and they've been releasing sneak peeks and previews, and it's gonna look amazing. So there's two demos. I'm going to play this demo this week, and then the next demo next week, and then after next week, we'll see. The new game, and I already know who I'm going to romance to start with. So when it's released, I am going to play it for first time through. So I am not going to play through it first and then play it for you guys. I'm going to be just as surprised as the rest of you for once. But I already have my first two OCs for this kind of determined. Okay, so yeah, that was Robbie Damon. He'll be doing the voice of one of the characters. This will be voiced as well, just like When the Night Comes. As you can see, there's two options: human or Skia. Um, this demo we can only play human. The other demo we can play Skia, because that's what's unique about this game is there's two different routes to play. They are not intertwined the way it is in Errant Kingdom. If you play human, the Skia route doesn't exist. If you play Skia, the human route doesn't exist. So I already have what I call my first playthrough of any game. I consider my canon playthrough, unless I really screw it up, and then I just go through it and I play it again, and then that's my canon. So we're going to start with the human. Next week we'll play Sophia. So yeah, Robbie Damon is playing, is doing one of the voices. When I first played the demo, this was the first time I'd heard of Robbie Damon at all. And then he ended up being on Critical Role this summer for a mini campaign, and after seeing and hearing him play, and then listening to this, I'm like, okay, now I can hear that that's Robbie's voice. Now I can recognize it, because I've kind of trained myself to really be able to hear similarities in voices. It's a thing that I do. Probably partially because my mom is a singer, so yeah. Sometimes people are really good at changing their voice so I don't realize it's them. Other times it's very obvious. But anyway. Okay. So, fresh blood from the surface. A few prior convictions, but nothing I can't work with. Reason for any acquiring them is unknown, but seemingly a decent decision on her part. My first impressions are good, but I'll refrain from forming any solid opinions until after we've gotten into the nasty shit. Here's hoping it works out better than the last time. P. Sinclair. The human. Having recently arrived from the surface, you find yourself thrust in the capable hands and employment of Penelope Sinclair, editor of editor of the Styx Journal, but most significantly, leader of Scott and Sinclair investigations. Your past is shady, but your convictions are nothing but a memory here in Styx. Call it a much-needed new beginning, if you will. A second chance to start somewhere fresh, where nobody knows your name. You have a job, a place to live, and a host of shit that's about to be thrown into your lap. Here's hoping your sea legs are steady, because life is about to get real choppy. Going into a new city can be a real headache. That's another thing. This is set during the 50s, I think. Has music, and it's actually a little loud. We'll turn it down a little. Because I love saxophone, but that's a little loud. Okay, so first thing. I already have it checked out, yes. Lori Stern. How did I spell Stern? Okay. And pronouns. And shockingly, I'm not going to pick she, her. I'm going to pick they, them. So, as standard, I know this isn't going to count. I'll have to start over again, but it helps. I feel better if I say the incessant tap, tap, tap of the typewriter's mechanical keys beneath my fingertips is the only thing keeping me awake tonight. I feel ya. That and the stench of smoke and booze wafting from Penny's office. It's only 7. She'll have one hell of a hangover tomorrow. Again. I sigh and glare at the fresh sheet before me. I'm only a sentence in, and it's already nonsense. I angrily yank at the roller and tap on, the arms whirling against the inky black ribbon. It's going to be a late one. I sit back and stare at the words on the page, words I've seen typed out by my and many others' hands too many times to count in the short time I've been here. Oh no. What words are these? Missing, kidnapped, presumed dead, dismembered. I hear a low whistle and turn to find Penny staring at me, sticking her head around the doorframe. Hey, you done yet? I don't have all night, you know. I thought you were supposed to be fast. So, apparently, Penny is going to be voiced by Allegra Clark, who I'm already half in love with because she does the voice of Josephine Montpellier from Dragon Age Inquisition. But she also does the voice of Kesh in Mass Effect Andromeda, which is a very different character and voice entirely. So I am eager to hear what she does for Penny. I'm on it. Only one more section to type up. She rolls her eyes and disappears back into Scott and Sinclair investigations. Penny is the editor of the Styx Journal and also a private investigator when night falls. She's relentless and brilliant, but she's hard to read. Question. Yeah, that's the thing. This is set in the city Styx, which is actually deep underwater. So how can you tell when it's night if you're that deep underwater? Her work partner, Annie Scott, is one of the many citizens of Styx who went missing recently, and I don't think Penny has slept since, and it looks like I'll be joining her with the amount of work I've got on my plate. I didn't think that taking a job at a newspaper would end up with me elbow deep in murder cases and disappearances, but hey, wherever the tides take me, I guess. I press play on the tape recorder and get ready to type. What did you see? You say you blacked out after she was taken. You must have caught a look at the guy's face. That's the thing, though. That wasn't no guy. Wasn't no human. Yeah, you said that already. But it isn't like we have much in the way of humans down here. So help me out. Be more specific. It wasn't one of them, either. It was... I quickly stopped the tape and watched the water in my glass ripple. That's really cool. There's some freak my sibling out. They don't like earthquakes. The whole room trembling. I gripped the edge of the desk to steady myself. I stopped after a few seconds, still long enough to throw me off. Another quake, the second today. Is it me, or did that one feel more violent? I turn and find Penny tugging on her coat, a cigarette hanging haphazardly between her lips. She's laden with case files, as usual, and I actually wonder if this woman ever quits. She doesn't seem to be bothered by the fact that the ocean is shaking us like fish in a bowl, but then I guess that's exactly what we are. Should I be concerned? Nah, don't fret. She waves me off as she breezes over to my desk and yanks the paper free from the typewriter, squinting at it and sighing when she sees it isn't done. But she adds it to the messy pile she had stitched under her arm anyway. These things happen. It's just the nature of Styx, my friend. You'll get used to it. Now, go home and get some rest, all right? I need you here bright and early tomorrow. Oh, and lock up for me, would you? She doesn't wait for me to respond, and the front door swiftly slams shut behind her. I rub my eyes and roll the tiredness that blurs the edges of my vision to disappear. I just want to get through this damn interview so I can go home. Then it happens again. Shake, rattle, roll. Another quake. This time it's vicious. No gentle warning or soft rumble, just full gore, light swinging, shit falling to the floor and cracking, pencil linoleum, books falling from the shelves. My desk jumps across the room like it has a mind of its own. Okay, I live in California, and the worst earthquake I've lived through was the Northridge earthquake back in '92, I think it was, and it wasn't as bad as this. I mean, the house definitely shook, and we were worried that something was going to happen. But the house is still standing, but there was a lot of damage otherwise in other places. Fear consumes me, and I launch myself from my chair, stumbling towards the door and reaching for the handle like a lifeline. I tear it open, the walls screaming around me, the roar of what sounds like thunder rattling in my ears. I escape into the atrium, and my eyes fall upon chaos. Hordes of people running from the surrounding businesses, bars, and lounges. There's a stampede coursing across the main floor, and all I can think is that I can't believe I've only been here a few weeks, and here I am, watching it all fucking end. So, let's just enjoy the background here. So this is, like, I guess it's supposed to be seaweed here, and you can see that it's moving, drifting, and the light here is flickering. I just love the colors, too. So cool. That's when the screaming begins. At first, I think the sound might be coming from me, but the chorus of wailing that fills my head can't possibly be human. It sounds like a wounded animal, a death knell. It chills me to my core and leaves the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck standing to attention, saluting whatever terrible thing is making that damn noise. Close my hands over my ears, try to shut it out, try to push forward and get the hell out of here. I look up as I run. I notice that the glass that encases us is holding. So at least today might not be the day I die a watered death, but then flash. A violent, blinding light, the edges of my vision blurring, shifting, and then everything goes quiet. Not a sound, not a whisper. No, that's utterly quiet, no background music. I stand still and close my eyes tight enough that it hurts, pain gluing right behind my eyelids. Next come the voices. Voices that aren't mine, voices that echo and shift, a terrible cacophony of crying, wailing, laughing. Then my mind fills with the vision of a face. Keep this image in mind. Notice that it's changing. Blue eyes, hair as black as the night. He stares down at his hands, and every inch of them is painted a terrible and unmistakable crimson. They shake, his long fingers trembling, and he drops them to his side what looks like defeat. Then he's looking right at me. He sees me. I snap back into the waking world with a painful jolt, my temples throbbing, and then comes total silence. Clarity, the calm after a terrible storm. I look around and my vision is clear again. No blurring, no bloodied stranger staring directly into my soul. I take a deep breath and shake my head, blinking myself free of whatever that was. I look down just to check that I'm still whole. Something catches my eye, a flash of red in the neon lights. I look down at my hands and find them covered in blood. What the? That's when everything turns to black. Yeah, this is not creepy at all. Normally this sort of thing isn't my bag, but it's Lunaris Games, and I've really enjoyed When the Night Comes and Errant Kingdom, so I'm willing to give this a try. I wake early, and I don't remember how I got home, but I do know that my sleep was fitful and plagued with nightmares. Nightmares of bloody palms, of unfamiliar faces, of the sounds of something dark and terrible calling out to me. It's a wonderful day here in Styx. I love that. The streets are bustling and alive with citizens going about their day, even at this horrendously early hour, and yet everything, unsurprisingly, feels a little off. I still can't recall how I got home last night, but I do remember standing in this very spot and having what I can only assume was a total mental breakdown. I look down at my hands and find them clean, much to my relief. It's only the 20th time I've checked since I woke up with the world's most horrific headache that just won't seem to quit, and a terrible feeling that there's something serious going on inside this brain of mine. Seeing myself, I look down at the address that I tore from the notice board outside the Vanguard Lounge yesterday morning after it caught my eye, which seems kind of like a sign right now. As if I anticipated something like this would happen without realizing it. Dr. Archimedes Suicida, Studio 11, Meadow Way, Asphodel. We will maintain your discretion with utmost care for proportional payment. I love that. Archimedes. Last thing to me suggests Asian descent. Sounds legit, right? After the night I had, I can't say I'm in the position to be too picky with finding the right practitioner. Discretion is highly desired. I'm not about to draw too much attention to myself when I'm fresh off the submarine. And so, into the depths of Asphodel I go. And now I have an unbearable headache. Call me Archie nods, his eyes still firmly fixed upon the clipboard in his lap. Okay, so just admire Archie. A lot of people are already thirsting for him. I think it's the gray in his hair. It looks very distinguished. Of course, a lot of people are thirsting for a lot of characters. Me, I tend to thirst for the femme-presenting ones, for reasons. He's writing, but I don't know whether he's writing something related to me or if he's just, I don't know, doodling flowers or whatever. I don't have the energy to care, and my patience is wearing thin with every pulse of my heartbeat. I sense a throbbing lance of pain through my temples. It feels worse than if someone had decided to stuff cotton in my brain, like a sponge with a giant, merciless hand, squeezing it over and over. But I paid to be here, and there's a shelf of interesting bottles filled with questionable things staring at me behind Dr. Tsushida's beautiful office desk. Guess I'd better behave long enough for him to give me something for this pain, and then I can be out of here. This is a nice office, too. He's already apologized profusely because his clinic downstairs is undergoing renovations, so he has to see me up here. He won't find me complaining about sitting on fine leather. And you hadn't been drinking? I didn't last night, no. So I considered it this morning. If your office had been hard to find, I might have slipped into Leopard's and taken my chances with a whiskey bottle instead. Yeah, that's the thing about the 50s is there's a lot of smoking and drinking. I didn't know about the consequences for your health at the time. So I try to keep that in mind. This is the 50s, it's different standards. Because personally, I don't smoke or drink for reasons I won't divulge. But I just have to accept that this is set in a different time period and just let it go. Why do you think I picked this spot for the clinic? I start reflexively, then squeeze my eyes shut when my head throbs again. This is getting annoying. Dr. Tsushida gets out of his plush chair, and as I hoped he would, he opens a cabinet full of mystery bottles, takes out a few, and arranges for something from another lower shelf. With a questionable smile, he hands me a shot glass full of some vicious-looking luminous green liquid. Oh, this is going to be fun. It's going to live stream if I don't get my dice out at least once, right? I mean, obviously, this is a demo, so it doesn't really matter which one we pick. Come on, open. I didn't trim my nails, so I don't know why it was so difficult to open. Okie dokie. Got my trusty D4 here. So, odd number would go with the first one, even number would go with the second one. And I state the reason, how I decide just keep things in mind for me. Okay, it's a 2. Don't suppose you'd consider serving this in a prettier glass? I swirl the liquid suspiciously, and it's viscous. The light refracts through its toxic green color rather attractively, but I know that just means this shit is going to burn on its way down. So, I think something about viscous. It means it's slightly thick, a bit like syrup. So it doesn't behave. It doesn't, when you move it around, it's a little slower to react and kind of clings more to the glass, unlike water, which is not viscous. So, in case people weren't quite sure what that means, there you go. In my experience, the nastier something looks, the better it works. And give you the illusion of luxury, I like to be honest with my patients. Don't worry, it's worth it after the first 3 seconds. Well then, cheers? I take a deep breath, brace myself, and knock it back in 1. It's bitter. It doesn't burn, but I might have preferred that to the horrendous taste slithering down my throat. I slam the shot glass down onto the desk and gesture desperately for anything else to drink. Archie thrusts a glass of water into my hands. Is he smirking? Am I about to die? The water thankfully washes the horrific aftertaste out of my mouth. See? 3 seconds, like I said. Felt much longer than that. My head is also still throbbing dully, and that would be added effects of lean years and extra misery if I haven't ingested something that nasty. The bottle of whiskey I've been daydreaming about is feeling less like a treat and more like a necessity at this point. It was 3 seconds. Don't worry, I counted. He would. I like that he's a bit of a shit. I love it. You don't expect that from a doctor, which makes it even funner. He cheerfully takes the water from my hand and nudges me to relax into the admittedly very comfortable chair. His smile, beatific and strangely reassuring. Now, since you took it orally, it's going to require a little while to fully take effect. Does that mean I get to fall asleep? Because I could do with the rest. No. Then why do you give your patient such an inviting chair? Usually, I don't. That chair is for personal guests. I suppose getting my clinic wrecked by ungrateful bastards does benefit some. You're the fifth person to comment about that chair. I wonder why. You get that many patients? He sighs deeply. Probably too many. Others are also happy to just pay me a fee and talk my ears off. Then I'd say you're doing a nice job stealing the bartender's business from down the street. Don't tell him that, or I've no doubt my tab will find itself inflating mysteriously. Oh, and since you're here, Archie ducks behind his desk, emerging a moment later with what looks like a stack of tapes. Suddenly, I have a feeling. You are the Laurie Stern, correct? Penny's new, recruit? Does Miss Sinclair know everybody in this city? If she does, I won't be surprised. But she did tell me specifically that her new hire is going to be helping her transcribe some important tapes I promised her. I would have stopped by to deliver them myself this morning, but here I am, held up with a patient complaining of a headache. Talk about lucking out, huh? I hold out my hand for the tapes, but Archie taps and shakes his head. He opens a different cabinet in the room, pulls out a roll of twine, and then starts sorting through the tapes and tying them together. Were they all just in a pile in your drawer until this morning, or did you just forget to finish this final step? That terrible headache of yours must have gone away by now, with all that sass out of your mouth. Oh, he is going to be fun to romance. Yes, he is the romance option, as is Penny. And there are 2 poly routes. It's then that I realized that it has actually, not completely, but the discomfort is so minimal that I don't notice much of anything aside from the fact that my head feels really heavy, like it's full of secrets or something. Dr. Tsushida. Damn it. I do hope we get to find out how to pronounce his name. Archie. Do you know anything about the murders and disappearances? Archie says nothing. He finishes tying up the tapes in neat piles and produces a brown paper bag to drop them into. He hands it to me. No, I don't, and it bothers me a great deal. Now, go home, rest up. I smile wryly. Not likely after you dropped all this work into my lap. Just tell Penny his doctor's orders that you get some rest. She can take it up with me if she feels like it. It's been a long while since I've seen her, anyway. Right, thanks. See you around, I guess. Not if you're lucky. I have a weird feeling in my gut that I won't be lucky, that I'll be seeing more of Dr. Tsushida. Before I head back to the office, I got a weird desire to check out the strange little shop. It's caught my eye more than a few times since I landed here. Nestled between Taiki Flush Casino and a beauty salon sits the Killing Moon, its colorful window full of charms, oddities, and multiple posters, including that the incredible Eve can tell me my fortune and what I ate for breakfast. Toast. I wonder if this Eve could offer me a little insight into what the hell is going on in this head of mine. I lean and take a closer look at one of those posters. So this is Eve. They're non-binary. So we have Penny, who's female, Archie, who's male, and now Eve, who's non-binary. Also of interest. The ultimate master of divination with a direct link to the spiritual plane and supernatural regions beyond. Interesting. Well, I guess it can't hurt to try, right? Into the unknown. I think that was written, they wrote that before Frozen 2 came out. The bell above the door tinkles quietly as I step inside, and I'm immediately hit with the overpowering smell of incense and a maelstrom of scented candles. Sorry, I got distracted with something. Strange music plays on the record player that sits in the corner, and the shop appears to be totally vacant. I peruse the shelves and run up and go over the jagged point of a crystal, leaning in to stare at the whorls of different purples. That's me. I like to touch things. You're a curiosity, aren't you? A more precious bauble than any in this shop. And look, the tides have washed you right in. And there's Eve. I turn quickly and watch as a fiery-haired wisp of a human in a lace gown, the same color as her pale skin, approaches. From where? I'm not entirely sure. Amethyst. Excellent for migraines and nausea. Convenient. They reach for the crystal and cradle it in their palms, closing their eyes, their copper lashes fluttering. It almost looks like they're whispering to it. Right. Hey, Eve, you okay there? And look, another non-binary person. If you'll notice, they have gold eyes. That's significant because all Skia have gold eyes. Some have pointy teeth and some don't. It's up to you. Another customer approaches, her golden eyes flicking between Miss Eve and myself curiously. They offer me a lopsided smile, one that looks almost apologetic. Eve exhales sharply and opens her eyes. Oh, Adrian! They turn to me and eagerly press the crystal into my hands. Forgive me, sometimes I get a little carried away. The other customer laughs awkwardly, still apparently trying to break the weird tension that seems to be sucking the life out of the room, and then Eve sets their sights on them. One moment! Eve scans the shelf, their hands in the air as if asking for silence, and they laugh wickedly when they apparently spot what they were searching for. They shove a crystal at the other customer's chest. This one is lavender and gold. Ametrine, for clarity, good for scaring away procrastination, and they sniff the air. Other unsavory things. The golden-eyed stranger's cheeks flare pink, and they laugh nervously, looking anywhere other than at myself or Eve. They reach into their bag and retrieve a wad of money to wave at Eve, apparently eager to give it to the over-curious shopkeep to set them up. I think I might do the same. As Eve quickly disappears behind the cash desk, the stranger turns to me and scrambles to hold the ridiculously oversized crystal in one hand, offering me the other. I'm Adrian. Sorry about that. Well, them. They're sweet. Just a little intense, you know? Yeah, I got that. So, are you a new around here? That obvious? Adrian shrugs sheepishly. Anyway, here lies your first lesson. Eve will sell you a crystal that costs a week's rent, and all it'll do is give you hives. You can't trust a soul around here, especially when they smile at you. Then, completely lacking any irony, Adrian offers me a huge, sharp-toothed grin. Further proof that they are Skia. It's like a siren, I guess? Before I can reply, Eve loudly clears her throat, their eyes widening when we both turn to stare at them. Adrian clears her throat and glances down at the crystal Eve deposited in their palms. Clarity, you said? Eve nods enthusiastically, their skinny fingers clasped as if they're about to drop to their knees in praise. You have a strange sense and you might need some, yes? Adrian exhales, glancing out into the atrium almost wistfully. They smile as they deposit their money upon the counter, but that smile doesn't reach their eyes. I think you might be right, yeah. Eve looks at me expectantly. And you? Okay, do we buy the crystals or don't we buy the crystals? According to what the dice decide. Odd number we buy it, even number we don't. Yeah, it's a 3, so we're buying the crystal. I sigh and reach into my pockets. Can't hurt, right? Eve nods, reaching out to count the coins for my poems. Too many for a pretty rock, if you ask me. I'm sure it'll brighten up your place, right? I nod and smile again, and Adrian is clearly just playing along, as regretful of their new unwanted item as I am, it would appear. Oh, we didn't catch your name. It's Lori. Eve shakes the hand I offer them with both of theirs, smiling sweetly until they're not. They pull away quickly, almost as if I shocked them, their skin turning a shade paler. Is that possible? They glance at Adrian for a split second before they compose themselves and nod for an obviously forced smile. It shakes at the edges. Right, well, it's very nice to meet you, Lori. Something tells me it wasn't. Now, please excuse me, I have a reading in a moment, so I need to go prepare. The spirits won't talk to themselves. They wave once, and then they're gone, the curtain that separates the shop from the back room swishing violently. Huh, that was weird. I raise a brow at them. Weirder than usual. Glad I'm not the only one who noticed. I better dash, too. Nothing personal, I just have to get to work. It was a pleasure to meet you, Lori. Really, and if you're ever in my neck of the water, just stop by my studio sometime. I'm always looking for faces to paint. Now, do you mean paint the faces themselves or paint the faces onto a canvas? Their cheeks flush as they hand me a small business card. Adrian Navarre, Portraits, Fine Art, Advertisements, Elysian Fields, Studio 12. I think it's Navarro. I'm fine. An artist, huh? You flatter me. Adrian shrugs and tucks a strand of their long hair behind their ear, heading for the door. Always nice to make new friends, right? Styx is a big place distinctly lacking honest folks. And something about you tells me you're one of the good ones. So stop by sometime. See you around. I wave and watch them go, standing in the middle of the killing moon, feeling heavier than I did before I entered, crystal notwithstanding. When I walk into the office, I find Penny sitting at my desk. She glares at me over the top of the typewriter, her eyes glued to me as I make my way over to the desk and deposit the bag of Archie's tapes in front of her. This better be good, considering you've been gone for almost half of your shift. I can't promise they'll be good, but they're from Dr. Sushita. He said he was planning on dropping them by. Penny's blue eyes light up, and she eagerly dips a hand inside the bag, crowning the contents with a growing smile. Yeah, son of a bitch. I knew he'd come through. While she's occupied with whatever juicy content Archie has supposedly provided us, I notice a new missing person poster has been added to the caseboard. My heart sinks when I look at the grainy picture of that face. We are seeking information regarding the disappearance of this individual, last seen in the Asphodel area of the city. An extensive investigation is being conducted to locate him. Name, Castor Egan. Description, sex, male, birthplace, Athens, Greece, date of birth, October 23rd, 1930. Height, 6'2", hair, black, eyes, blue. Should you have or in the future receive any information concerning the whereabouts of this individual, you are requested to notify Penelope Sinclair immediately. Scott and Sinclair Investigations, licensed and bonded, private and criminal investigations, 1667 South River Street, Suite 6, the Atrium. You notice he looks a lot like that guy we saw in the vision. I reached out unconsciously, almost as if compelled, and I feel sickness coiling in my gut. Like I know this man, like he means something. I've never seen him before, of that much I'm sure. Not in a way that would make me feel like this, anyway. Oh yeah, I need to brief you on this one. Penny's voice snaps me from my daze, and she flicks the poster, leaning against the board with a resigned sigh. His name is Egan Castor. His brother came to my apartment after the quake in a mad panic. Apparently, he disappeared last night under suspicious circumstances. But that's all I managed to get out of the crazy bastard before he ran off. Men. I stare at her, not quite able to bring myself to respond, the face on the poster still drawing me in, urging me to look. Penny tilts her head curiously and frowns at me. Earth to Lori, you all right there, champ? You look a little peaky. I nod vacantly, plastering a smile across my lips. I just had a bad night. No sleep, headache. Must have been the quake. Huh, yeah, you're still adjusting, I suppose. Anyway, let me tell you about this Castor guy. Get your typing fingers ready. It's a long story. I dutifully take my seat at my desk, slipping a fresh piece of paper between the rollers, and for the next 2 hours, Penny recounts the tale of Blue and Egan Gaster, and why the latter going missing holds some degree of significance in the long and winding web that Styx seems to be weaving around us. I'm gonna need a drink. It didn't take much for Penny to persuade me to join her in her nightly journey to the Vanguard, her arms once again laden with case files and paperwork. The woman never quits. Although I find myself with a pile of my own tonight, both of us sit at the bar, papers strewn out in front of us, while the cute blonde bartender keeps our glasses full. The lounge is packed, the air thick with a layer of smoke, like has its own very own atmosphere. I can talk freely. Still don't know if I believe that he's missing. If you meet his brother, you'll understand why. I'd want to get the hell away from him, too. But you said they seemed close? So why would he just disappear with no good reason? Penny shrugs and studs her cigarette out in the ashtray before her, quickly lighting another. I guess that's for you to find out, huh? She smiles and exhales, the smoke hitting my face. Right. Then the lights dim and a single spotlight illuminates the stage at the far end of the lounge, a figure appearing in its bright, unforgiving beam. The music swells, a cool, lazy rhythm, something to lure you to sleep if you weren't hopped up on a thrill of simply being here. Even under the drum of the bass, I hear Penny's breath hit. Heck, mine does too, because the silhouette is a damn fine one, all dangerous curves and a walk that tells you that whoever it is knows their appeal and how to work it. Notice the eyes. I lean in to whisper in Penny's ear, my eyes still on the stage. Who is that? She swats me away without so much as offering me a glance, totally fixated. They're talking. And then the songbird begins to sing. Red lips, tight curls, eyes as gold as the sun, and that voice. I asked, and the voice actress for this character is supposed to sing. So I'm really looking forward to that, especially if she sings that very smoky, seductive quality that the art promises. Like honey, dripping and smooth, she's compelling enough to make me believe she's singing about me, for me, and only me. But the way everyone else in the room is staring at her, I gather they feel the same. Yeah, the gold eyes mean she's also a Sia. To say I'm transfixed would be an understatement. So something swiftly pulls me from my daze. A terrible chill rolls down my spine, a full-body shudder that has goose flesh prickling upon my skin. I feel the same way I did last night, like I'm about to get lost in a dream. Vision? Whatever the fuck that was. Then I see him. Him, the mystery man, bringer of the world's biggest pain in the ass of a migraine. He stands at the opposite end of the bar, all tall and looming. Maybe he's a witch, something haunting and dark, a creature like the ones they say wander Styx at night if you get too close to the shadows. Dun dun dun. The bluest eyes I've ever seen focus in on me like he's heard everything I'm thinking about him. He scowls at me from behind a curtain of ink-black hair. I can hear my own heartbeat rushing in my ears, the music in the songbird's voice a mere echo. Like I'm underwater, but in a more literal sense. The shadow man narrows his eyes, and I decide there's definitely something other about him, something both missing and too much to fathom. He averts his gaze quickly, like he's been shocked out of our little staring contest. The room seems to shudder, my ears popping, and then everything is back to normal. Only then do I register Penny snapping her fingers in front of my face, and if looks could kill. Hey, you drunk already or something? I shake my head because my tongue feels too heavy for me to form words, and Penny simply sighs, resigning herself to the fact that I'm terrible company, I assume. I would feel bad if it wasn't for the existential crisis I seem to be having. Penny suddenly stiffens beside me, her back going ramrod straight and her unlit cigarette almost falling from between her lips. She scrambles to catch it, and I hear a husky laugh right behind me. Penny looks up, her eyes wide, and her cheeks beet red. Fuck. I turn to find the culprit, the one who apparently has the ability to render my usually unshakable boss useless. And there stands the songbird, even more beautiful up close. Penelope, I see you've brought the office here with you as always. Should you really be drinking on the job? Penny merely scowls and angrily fumbles for her letter, refraining from responding. The songbird simply sighs, shrugging at me with pursed lips like she's used to this kind of reception. And who is this? Another of Miss Sinclair's victims? Her perfect red lips curl up at the corners as she offers me a hand. Penny swears quietly under her breath and finally gets a flame out the letter, her relief apparent. So, yeah, let's flip the dice to decide again. Odd, we go with the first one, even we go with the second one. Odd. Lori Stern, and I'm not a victim, just an employee. The songbird laughs heartily and takes my hand, shaking it firmly. There's a difference. I'm Callie Seymour. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lori. Likewise. I actually need to feel away your boss, Lori. I hope you don't mind, but it's a private matter. How private are we talking? You said that last time and talked my ear off about your bass player cheating on his wife for an hour. Time is money, Calliope. How apropos. A singer named after an instrument. Don't give me that shit, Pen. I have solid information. Is that intriguing enough to make me taking up your oh-so-precious time worthwhile? Penny clears her throat and begins to gather up the papers she'd earlier strewn across the countertop, stuffing them back in her files and then under her arm. She stands, throwing me an apologetic glance. Call it a night. I need you in early tomorrow to make up for the time we lost today, all right? Sure thing, boss. She actually smiles at that, and I feel like I got awarded a gold star. A forever. But then she inhales sharply and squares her shoulders, her gaze meeting Callie's as she pushes past me. 30 minutes, max. I need an early night, too. Ha! That's rich. And then Penny is off, pushing through the crowd and heading who knows where. Callie half begins to follow her on towering heels, but she stops, spins, and offers me a polite wave and a wink. It was nice to meet you. Before I get the chance to respond, they're both gone, engulfed by the sea of swaying people. Suddenly I feel that shift again, eyes on me, staring, burning into the back of my head. And yes, Callie is another romance option. And Callie and Penelope are one of the polyamorous. I turn slowly, an attempt at being subtle, I suppose, but something tells me the shadow man is expecting my attention. Sure enough, he's looking right at me when I find him at the opposite end of the bar. He still has his coat on and clutches an almost empty drink like a lifeline. I slide into the empty seat beside him and my temples ache, but I put it down to a long day and the fact that the atmosphere in here is at least 80% cigarette smoke. And here it is, Robbie Damon's character. He laughs bitterly and lifts his tumbler, squinting as he glares through the amber liquid. I hope you recognize the face. He slams it back, finishing the drink in one. He places the glass on the bar with a loud slam, his knuckles bleeding white as he grips it like he means to break it. It isn't every day you see a guy in a painful, seemingly prophetic vision, and then suddenly he's real and sitting right in front of you. Shame he seems like kind of an asshole. He cleared my throat, and the weight of his glare is heavy enough to make my skin crawl. Yeah, there are plenty of people thirsting after him, and I'm just like, yeah. I saw you yesterday. He raises a brow at me, and then laughs, a dark chuckle. His words drip with disdain, and the bartender walks over to us, bottle in hand. He refills Shadow Man's tumbler with a healthy dose of whiskey without question. I grimace. Well, it's complicated. He's frowning now, his expression cold enough to chill me to the bone. That's when I know it has to be him. It's those eyes, like there's nothing behind them. I lean in close and drop my voice. The quake. While it was happening, I had a vision, or something. He sits a little straighter and clears his throat, his head flipping around to see if anyone's watching us, I assume. Then he's leaning in and staring me down, his voice pitched low. I feel like he's trying to find a weak spot, a kink in my non-existent armor. He raises his brows, and I can't tell if he's playing around or if he's threatening me. The fact that he seems unperturbed that I just told him I had a magical vision is less than comforting. The Castor twins, you're one of them, the not missing one. Okay. Again, using the dice, because why not? First one, even second one. Let's do that again. I got cast. 2. There's no mistaking it was you. I know what I saw. Blue pinches the bridge of his crooked nose, a deep, shaky sigh falling from his lips before he sneers at me. Do you want to tell me what's going on here? You're apparently not at all shocked about what I thought was a pretty outlandish claim, and I'm feeling pretty damn lost. Blue downs his drink in one, grimacing as he swallows it. He hisses through clenched teeth and stands up quick and dramatic enough that he startles me and everyone in our vicinity. Then he's reaching into his coat, fumbling for something. He pulls out a crumpled piece of paper and a pen, leaning on the bar as he scribbles something down. His fingers are stained with ink. I wonder that if I stare long enough, the black will turn to red. He shoves the paper into my hands. It has an address on it in Greek and English. Periclisi, Tenskion, Church of Shadows, Asphodel Meadows. Now, the reason that it's Greek and English is because he and his twin were born in Greece. So, how do I know I can trust you? Think about what Adrian said. If I'm not trusting anyone here, especially if they smile at you. Blue scoffs and sticks his hands in his pockets, his shoulders hunched like he's trying to make himself look smaller. An impossible feat for a guy as tall as him. Yeah, 6'2", that is tall. And well, he certainly isn't smiling. I can't decide if that's a good sign or bad. Everything else about the situation points to the latter. Yeah. He pauses and tilts his head, his bright eyes dragging over me. It's Lori. He narrows his eyes again, and I consider buying the city out of all its crosses. Holy water, too. I stuff the paper into my pocket. And you'll tell me what's going on? I lean in a little closer, my voice as low as it can go with all this noise. You'll tell me what's happening to me? That's not creepy at all. They? Blue laughs. The bastard has the gall to offer me a dangerous, wicked smirk. And then he's gone, and with him goes my headache. It's like a weight has been lifted, the pressure turned off. Welcome to Styx indeed. And that's it. I just like to do that. Okay. And that's it for the demo. So we got to meet everybody. Yeah, so basically everyone we met is a potential love interest. Like I said, Penny and Kelly is a poly option. The other poly option is Blue and Adrian. And we'll get a little more of what's going on between them next week. So yeah, it's a very intriguing start. I was a little uncertain until I played this demo. And I was like, oh no, I have to know what the fuck is going on. But they're good at that. And then I'm having quite everyone going to do after I finish the demos? Okay, so yeah, that's it for this week. Well, today I should say. I'll be back on Sunday to play the extras for the What in the Night Comes revamp. And then next week I will play the other demo for Call Me Under. And then we'll see. So take care until then. Thank you for watching, listening, whatever you want to call it. And see you next time. Take care.